Picture this. You're a factory owner in 1812 England. It's 2 in the morning, dead quiet. Then crash. Your machines start getting smashed to pieces by masked workers in the dark. And the next morning, you find a letter on your doorstep, signed by one man. By order of General Ludd, the British government freaked out. Like full panic mode. They deployed 12,000 soldiers, more troops than they used against Napoleon in some battles, all chasing one mysterious revolutionary. And here's the kicker that blows my mind every single time I think about it. Ned Ludd probably never existed. So how did a man who may have been 100% made up lead one of the most terrifying worker rebellions in all of history? Stick with me because this story gets wild. The legend begins. Alright, let's set the scene. It's 1779, a tiny English village called Anstey, and a young apprentice named Ned Ludd snaps. He grabs a hammer, and he destroys 2 knitting machines. Just obliterates them. God, at the time, nobody cared. Just some angry kid with a bad day, right? But then, 30 years later, something insane happens. Workers all across England start smashing factory machines. And out of nowhere, they start signing their warning letters with the same name, Ned Ludd. One dude's rage became a movement, or did it? Because here's where things go completely sideways. Did Ned Ludd even exist? No birth record. No death record. No court papers. No confirmed proof that Ned Ludd was ever a real breathing human being. The story of the machine-smashing apprentice only pops up in records decades after it supposedly happened, right when the rebellion kicks off around 1811. That's sus. That's seriously suspicious. Historians now believe something that sounds straight out of a thriller novel. Ned Ludd was completely fictional. He wasn't a person, he was a shared identity. Like a mask that thousands of workers put on. Think about how genius that is. Anyone could act in his name. Anyone could write a letter as General Ludd. You can't arrest a symbol. You can't execute an idea. These workers didn't just start a rebellion. They invented one of the most brilliant protest strategies in human history. They weren't anti-tech. They were anti-exploitation. Okay, so here's the part that gets me genuinely heated, because everyone gets this wrong. When people today call someone a Luddite, they mean someone who hates technology, right? Someone who can't figure out their phone or whatever, but that's completely off base. That's not what this was about at all. These workers were not afraid of machines. They were furious about how machines were being weaponized against them. Before the Industrial Revolution hit, skilled craftsmen had spent years, sometimes a lifetime, mastering their trade, making textiles by hand. There was real pride in that work, real craft, real dignity. Then factory owners rolled in machines that let totally unskilled workers do the same job in a fraction of the time. And overnight, those skilled workers lost everything. Their jobs, their wages, their sense of purpose. Their whole communities gutted. To them, machines weren't progress. They were economic weapons aimed at the working class. Does any of that sound familiar? Because it should. The fictional general who terrorized an empire. Here rests the move that the history books don't give nearly enough credit for. By inventing a fake leader, the Luddites basically made themselves unstoppable in 3 brilliant ways. 1. They protected their real organizers. Arrest somebody? The movement keeps going. You can't cut off the head if there is no head. 2. They unified workers across totally different cities and regions. Everyone fighting under the same legendary banner, same name, same spirit. 3. And this is the one that gives me chills. They psychologically broke factory owners. Imagine getting a letter at your front door that reads, Take notice that if your frames are not removed by next week, they will be destroyed. By order of General Ludd. You don't know who sent it. You don't know how many people are behind it. You don't know when they're coming. That uncertainty? That's terrifying, way scarier than any real person ever could be. The raids. Between 1811 and 1813, the Luddites moved like ghosts. Groups of masked workers, organized, disciplined, and deadly quiet, would hit factories in the dead of night. They carried massive hammers, literally nicknamed Enochs, and in minutes, machines worth thousands of pounds were reduced to scrap. The letters kept coming, military in tone. Poetic in places, always signed the same way. Always from a man no one could find. The government didn't just get nervous. They got flat out scared. Britain went to war with a ghost in 1812. Parliament did something drastic. They made machine breaking punishable by death. Not prison, death. And then they flooded northern England with soldiers. 12,000 troops. More than Wellington had in certain battles against Napoleon. All deployed against factory workers with hammers, because the British government genuinely believed a secret revolutionary network was forming that could topple the whole system. And here's the wild thing, they were kind of right to be scared. Not because the Luddites had guns or armies, but because the Luddites had something more dangerous than weapons. They had a story that couldn't be killed. How it ended by 1813, the crackdown was brutal. Major trials were held in York. The verdicts were devastating. 17 Luddites were executed. Dozens more were shipped off to prison colonies in Australia. The rebellion collapsed under the weight of the repression. Factories kept expanding, machines kept improving. The Industrial Revolution rolled on like nothing happened. And on the surface, it looks like the Luddites lost. But did they? The real legacy 200 years later, historians are still arguing about whether Ned Ludd was ever a real person. And honestly, I think that's the whole point. Even if he never drew a single breath, his legend united tens of thousands of people. It gave desperate workers something to rally behind. A name, a symbol, a feeling that they weren't alone. Ned Ludd might have been the first anonymous revolutionary symbol in modern history. The original masked icon. The original nobody who became everybody. And in a world where technology keeps disrupting how we work and live, where AI and automation are reshaping entire industries right now, maybe the Luddites weren't the ones who were behind the times. Maybe they were just way ahead of them. Before you go, I genuinely want to know what you think. Was Ned Ludd a real person who got turned into a legend? Or was he always just a brilliant invention? The smartest rebellion strategy ever cooked up? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one. And if this kind of deep dive history gets you going, hit subscribe. Because trust me, the next one is even wilder. History isn't just dusty old dates. It's full of people who changed the world. And some of them might never have existed at all.